If there's one thing that has really helped me in the past, that is learning how to become comfortable with being bored. Because the problem is, and the problem that I have faced for a long time in my life, and sometimes I still struggle with it, is the fact that whenever I'm bored, I have the tendency to scroll on social media, to waste my time doing everything besides being in the discomfort that I'm in, because as it says, it is uncomfortable. I don't feel like being in that moment. I want to run away from it. I want to avoid everything that comes with it because I don't like it. And when we don't like to do certain things, we try to avoid it, which is quite logical if you think about it. But certain things you shouldn't avoid. There are certain problems in your life that you shouldn't avoid. Like, I remember so well, like a couple of years ago, I used to sit in my garden, smoking weed. I used to watch Netflix shows the entire night after having worked a full-time shift, and I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was so ashamed of myself that I couldn't even get myself together to see my friends. I always told them that I was busy, that I didn't have the time to meet up with them. For a part, I didn't want to see them because I knew that it was not contributing towards my growth. But that was quite hypocritical of me because what was I doing in my free time? Well, I was making a little bit of music, but I wasn't really pushing myself to my limits. I was running away from my discomfort. And there were so many times where I came home from work and I told myself in the morning, I'm not gonna smoke weed and I'm gonna make sure that I get in bed on time. I wasn't in bed on time because the moment that I got home, I put on my headset, I turned on some music, and I was already in the mood to go smoke weed, and then I started to roll a joint, and I thought, I'm just gonna smoke one, and I'm gonna enjoy myself because of the hard day of work that I've put in. Well, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, 3 becomes 4, and then it's already 12 a.m. I gotta wake up at 6 in the morning, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not ready to do this. I'm like, fuck, I wasted my time. And there were oftentimes moments where I just fell asleep in the garden. It didn't matter what type of weather it was outside, whether it was raining, snowing, or it was super warm. I was there either playing RuneScape out of all the games that there exists, or watching Netflix shows, wasting my time, day in, day out. And I always had these aspiring dreams of becoming an artist, but what was I doing for them? I wasn't doing anything particularly that was getting me closer to getting there. Yeah, from time to time, I did work on my music and I did work on improving myself bit by bit, but not, how could I say it? Like I wasn't challenged. Because every time that I became challenged, I found an excuse to not indulge in it. Like I can remember so well every time where I was stuck with a certain lyric that I was writing or a beat that I was producing, I gave myself the excuse, okay, this is the moment that I have to step away and go outside. And then when I'm back, I can finally work on it again. Well, I had to learn the hard way that was not the way to solve it. Because it was when I realized that I was being a pussy towards myself years later, and that I had learned from a book that whenever you feel uncomfortable, you simply gotta sit there and push forward because that instills the habit to persevere during the uncomfortable moments. And then when I started doing that with my lyrics, when I started doing that with my beat production, I became better and I started to break through these boundaries that I was having for myself. And now you're wondering, how does this tie back to feeling bored? Because if I didn't cut out everything from my life, if I didn't cut out everything that was unnecessary and that was distracting me from doing the activities that I needed to do, I wouldn't be doing the activities. Because I was entertained. And when I'm entertained, I'm not thinking about what I have to do. I'm not thinking about I gotta sit down and write my music. I'm not thinking about, I need to get my financial situation in check. Or I'm not thinking about I need to start thinking about a family. Like I'm not thinking about that my mental health is deteriorating. I'm not thinking about all the things that actually do matter in life. Like I had no reason, I had no purpose, I had no direction. Because of the constant entertainment, because of the constant cycle of entertainment that I was in. And and then when you see all of these people on social media, you desire that what they have as well. And then you start comparing your own life to theirs. And you're like, fuck, I'm running behind. You're like, goddamn, I'm really a waste of space. And I'm aware of the fact that I am not growing. But then if you have never instilled the habit of being one with your realizations and having learned how to stop running away and facing that challenge that is in front of you, what do you think will happen? Well, you will continue to run away because you're already in this shitty position anyways. So why even bother changing it? Because you will have to face the consequences of what you did in the past. And at the time, I didn't really want to face the consequences of what I've done in the past. Because everything we did in the past will either positively or negatively impact our lives today. You know, I was a loser. I was a loser because of all the things that I did towards myself. I was a loser because I wasn't actively trying to win anything. I was actively running away from everything. And you know, when your subconscious knows that you are actually not doing the activities that you need to do in order to break through your current situation, in order to get to the next situation, like in order to get to the next point in life, your mental health starts deteriorating. So if there's one thing that I can tell you related to being bored, is whenever you feel bored, embrace that. Embrace the feeling of being bored. Embrace the feeling of sitting there doing nothing and literally feeling every emotion that is going through your body in and out. And you will also notice that your emotions are constantly changing. But there will be one key emotion that will constantly show itself. It's a level of dissatisfaction that is inside of you that you will experience. And listen to that dissatisfaction. Listen to what it's telling you. Because it will most likely direct you towards the activities and the path that you want to take. It will guide you towards being in a better position. You know, it sounds counterintuitive. Listen to the thing that makes you unhappy. The thing that makes you unhappy is literally showing you what you are doing that is making you unhappy. And in that moment, that is your opportunity to change yourself. You can always change yourself. Even though it's so dark and negative, it's actually not a bad thing. And that's how we gotta wire our brains. Because if that doesn't happen, you will start living very superficially. You will start living for the good things, but the good things are not necessarily that what you want. Because in order to actually benefit off of the good things, you need to go through the bad things first. Because every time you run away from your responsibilities, every time you run away from the bad things, they will come haunt you. There's no other way around of it. The truth will always be there. It will always prevail. It will always show itself. And you will either choose to consciously accept it or to consciously ignore it. You have to choose one of the two paths. Either the one of delayed gratification or instant gratification. Because if you don't do that, you will just become like everybody else. And I know that you are an ambitious guy. You know, I have to sit myself sometimes down. Because, you know, we as ambitious people, we like to have these fantasies. We get an idea, we get a win, and we think, okay, this is it. We have gotten it, you know. This is the win of our lives. But it's not. There's so much more that we have to endure. There's so much more pain that we have to embrace. And it's really through pain that we grow. Let your unhappy emotions and let your dissatisfaction for being bored and being in the position that you are in fuel you to be better, fuel you to become the strongest version of yourself. Like I remember so well when I wanted to quit smoking weed, when I wanted to quit being a fuck up because I realized that I was wasting my time. I was so pissed off at myself. I was so disappointed in myself, so disappointed in the fact that I have not been living up to my greatest self. And I had two options. Either I was gonna remain with the fact that I was a fuck up and do nothing with myself, or actually see like what are the main reasons that I feel like a fuck up. Okay, I'm in a relationship that I don't want to be in. I'm smoking weed the entire time. I'm not doing the activities that I need to do, which was making music at the time. I'm not being respectful towards myself by going to my job and fulfilling my responsibilities that I've taken on inside of my job. Okay, so what do I have to do? Quit doing the fucked up things that I'm doing. I had to quit that relationship. I had to quit smoking weed. I had to respect myself and fulfill my responsibilities that I took on at work. I have to respect myself and do the tasks that I said that I was going to do that were related to becoming an artist. And then my life started to become better, but it was not a fun time because you will have to go through uncomfortable moments. Like there were the first months of quitting weed, I was just sweating the entire time. I remember falling asleep and waking up 1 hour later fully wet from sweat. I had such intense dreams that I didn't even want to have. They were so crazy that I just had the impulse to smoke again because I wanted to numb myself. If you've been smoking for 9 years, you don't really have dreams anymore. Like that part of you gets, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I don't know the right terminology, but apparently you don't have dreams. And I didn't have dreams for a long time. Then when I started to have dreams again, they were so extremely intense that I didn't even want to have them. But after 6 months, the dreams started to calm down. Here and there, I get like a crazy dream, but it's not that wild as it was before. After, the first month, I stopped sweating that intensely. My mental health kind of started to improve because I've built up confidence for myself that I can sleep without being under the influence of drugs. I felt so good about myself. I felt like I was finally getting closer towards becoming the man that I want to be. It's in these small wins that we actually become confident. And my confidence didn't come right in the beginning. I was very unconfident about the fact of quitting all of these things. But I knew that this is the thing that I had to do. And I also realized by taking action that confidence is not built before you do the activity. Confidence is built when you actually take action, when you feel unconfident and when you feel insecure, and then eventually you get a small win out of it, and that gives you like experience towards your confidence. And then if you do that over a long enough period of time, you will start to become more confident. And it's always a skill that continues to improve, and with every step that you take, you get closer towards realizing it. I hope this video has been able to serve you in the right way. My name is Mark Santos, and I want to wish you a very nice day. Remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye-bye.